Weddy, and I'm Freddy, and I'm Weddy Spaghetti. That's the intro. Hi, everybody. Welcome to WedChat. Today we have our guest, Destanie. She is a bride in 34 days.
34 days.
So exciting.
I'm in the stage where I'm crossing my fingers and hoping everybody shows up. Everybody knows the game plan. I'm kind of at the point where I'm not going to know what's going wrong until the day of.
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling everyone this, like, I just want to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
The wedding party aspect of it is, like, what's stressing me out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to, like, separate those because I'm trying to, like, remember this moment in life. But at the same time, I'm like, we're 34 days away.
Yeah, it's so freaking exciting.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I'm excited as a photographer. I can't imagine being so excited as the bride.
I never, to be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to get married. There was, like, a point in my life where I just accepted. I was like, it's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because I spent my whole like childhood and high school, like, planning my dream wedding on Pinterest. Like,
Yeah.
like, I thought I just wanted this huge big day, and now that I've, like, met somebody that I'm, like, want to spend the rest of my life with, like, I'm just kind of like, meh.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is just, like, it's beautiful, but I'm just more ready for my marriage, and I think that's, like, the most anticipation. Like, I just want to be married to him, but I also want to remember that there's only one day. Like, I only get this one day to, like, remember for the rest of our life, and it's gonna be a fun party and stuff. But oh my god, the flowers and the cake toppers and all that crap, I'm like,
all the little stuff.
Yes, it's stressful, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. And I kind of want to get your take. I mean, we're both wedding vendors.
Mm-hmm.
You see it through a completely different lens.
Literally.
But I'm just curious to you see probably how much money goes into weddings. You've seen, like, all over the place. I just want to know, like, my question for you, I think, is, like, do you think it's all worth it?
One of my biggest things that I always tell my clients, and my next guest is going to be a florist. She's going to love me for saying this. But I always say, if you have an ugly venue, you know, or it's not, you know, what you wanted, or you're just getting married, you know, somewhere random, or even if you're having, like, a church ceremony, just, like, in the chapel, or even at the, what do you call it? When you just,
like,
go off and sign it, but it's in a building.
Like,
not
courthouse.
a church. Yeah, courthouse. Listen.
Courthouse.
It's been
wedding.
a long week, okay? Even if you're having a courthouse wedding or anything like that, florals. Go big on flowers. Flowers everywhere. Real flowers. Yeah. Fake flowers are always a little bit less expensive, and people always say you can't tell. You can tell. You can absolutely tell.
Yeah.
And I always say go big on flowers. And then the second thing I always say is, like, you know, if you are spending all of this money and all this time and all these details and planning out this big extravagant thing, definitely, and I'm biased in this, of course, but definitely get a good photographer. Because if you're paying for all of that stuff and putting so much effort into decorating it, you want it documented properly, because all that stuff's going to go away. The flowers are going to die. You're never going to wear your dress again. Like, all these things. So get it documented. And, like, of course, you have the scale from, like, all you need is, you know, an officiant and the two of you in your set, all the way up to, you know, I gotta have all my aunts, uncles, cousins. I gotta have a big party. I need like sparklers. I need this and all that. I need fireworks, you know. It's such a big range, and it really comes down to, like, what's important to you. And I think a lot of people forget that along the way. They start thinking about, you know, is my cake going to be pretty? Is my dress going to fit right?
And you
it's
get
like,
lost in that so easily. And
exactly.
I've gotten lost in it several times already. And it takes a lot to, like, put yourself back. Like, you have to remember, like, you're doing all this and spending all this money, and all these little details are about you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your spouse, whatever. I'm throwing all these little details and things in my wedding that do matter to me, but if they go wrong, I can't let it, like, ruin.
And another thing I always say is, you know, no matter what happens, you're walking out of there married.
That's
like period.
Like,
unless you forget to sign the license, then maybe you're not.
Right.
But
no, we're not going to do that.
You're halfway there.
Yeah, like that should be the what matters the most. It should be around all of that. So I don't know. And that's where I'm trying to keep my focus. And if that's like my number one advice for being 30 days out from my wedding and planning this whole year, like I still don't feel like it was enough time, but just keep your eyes on your marriage the whole time. I'm going through that too with if the family just they're like, oh, well, you need this. I'm like, well, I don't. I don't want to. And it's crappy to say. It's like I don't want to spend money on all of it, but at the same time, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I want to put my focus into like spending time with my guests and my husband and like, you know, it's rough industry, I think, altogether, because you have every couple trying to spend the least amount of money. And you have all these vendors that are trying to make money. Yeah. That's why me as a vendor, I struggle with my prices because I need to make money, but I also don't want to charge them an arm and a leg because I already know how much they're spending on everything else.
Right. Yeah. And it's so hard because like I have couples sometimes that maybe their budget doesn't fit with my pricing or whatever, and I try really hard to work with it. You know, I have programs where like if you refer someone that's getting married and they book, you get like money off your package and like, you know, all kinds of different programs and stuff to try to help with that. And sometimes it just breaks my heart when I can't, you know, take on a certain client and I'm like, I love you. I hope your photographer ends up being amazing.
Yeah. You charge your prices for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, even when I was starting out and my prices were really low, you got what you paid for. You know, I mean, I had photography skills going way before that, but like my wedding knowledge and like the way that I'm able to help my clients now and work through especially like timeline problems and if clients have questions, I actually have answers now. So that's where the pricing difference comes in.
You run the day. I feel like if your photographer doesn't know how quickly the day's going to go by, first of all, and like every minute of those hours is basically accounted for. If they don't know what they're doing, then it's going to be like, you're either not going to get the pictures you want or it's going to be a disaster. I feel like one of the two.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started, there was times I would be doing like newlywed portraits.
Yeah.
And like their planner would come up and be like, hey, we need to like start reception. And I'm like, oh my God, I was such a ditz. Like I had no idea.
Pretty photos.
Yeah, exactly.
The sunset's really nice right now. I know what you're talking about.
Like, what do you mean? We're here for a photo shoot. I get that. Or there's times where the bride would have a question and I would just kind of be like deer in headlights, like, I know nothing about this. Yeah. And that's such an awful feeling. And it took a while for me to really feel like I have the answers for just about everything. Yeah. And that's really, you know, a large portion of what you're paying for is that experience.
Yeah, it is, because you're like, I've done this before. I can do it again. You know, the rhythm of a night, like someone like just starting out would never know that. So,
and sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get someone that's just starting out and they're really good, but they're still not going to have that same experience and that same knowledge. You could still end up with pretty pictures. Yeah. But, you know, you take that risk.
Yeah. And this is something I wanted to talk about and I wanted to ask you about. Well, how do you feel about seating charts?
For, like, the reception?
Yes.
It's hard for me because I've never been a bride, of course.
Right.
I've also never been a guest.
Right.
I've only ever...
You've only been shooting them.
Yeah, I've only ever been a photographer. Okay. So it's never really been something that I've ever, like, run into. But I do feel like it tends to, like, when everybody sits in their, like, assigned seat for dinner. Yeah. And they eat or whatever, and then you open up the dance floor, I mean...
It's kind of like a free-for-all after that, right?
Everybody's everywhere.
And I'm only asking because... I'm personally not doing a seating chart for my wedding. And I've asked so many different brides and I've done polls on Instagram and like, it's so 50-50. For me, it's like they're grown adults. Yeah. I even tried. I looked at my invitation list, guest list, whatever it's called. I don't know. It's like, that didn't seem right. My guest list. And I tried to like put them all at tables and I was like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. I don't want to be in charge of this. So in my mind, I'm like, why do you want to go through all that hassle when people are going to not show up and show up when they didn't RSVP, and then your whole seating chart's wrong now anyway.
That's true.
Because you have extra people there and you spent hundreds of dollars on a seating chart and probably hours trying to put it together.
Right.
Just for people maybe follow it.
Yeah, that's true. For context, she does signs. Very creative. And I know you're working on doing some other stuff as well. You want to kind of break out of that.
Yeah.
But I've seen some really cool ones that you've done. I know you did one recently that was like on this big grand mirror with like this gold frame and all the names were written on there, and it was really pretty. And like, if you're going to do something like that, I feel like to keep it in your house would be really kind of cool.
Yeah. The bride I just did a sign for, she says, "It's beyond wild to see all of our names on one board that are coming to support us. I'm in tears. Thank you so much for doing that for us." Mm-hmm. And that made me feel good. And I was like, so it's like it made it worth the 15 hours I put into the sign. But
right.
Because it is so special to see all the people that are there to see you. So I don't know. Like, I just... they take up so much time. I think I might stray away from them for that reason alone. So I'm glad we're talking about this because I've been really struggling with it the last couple of days. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Seating charts do not bring me joy. Mm-hmm. They don't. They bring me stress. Sometimes tears. Most of the time.
Mostly tears. Always tears.
But that's why I'm struggling, and I feel like I'm just using this podcast to vent. But like,
no, that's what it's here for.
That's why we're here, right?
That's what it's here for.
I like doing the little detail sign for mine and Mitchell's wedding. I don't think I'm gonna have a generic sign. I think it's gonna say like "Welcome to our adventure" or something, because that's kind of like the theme of my wedding. I'm lucky I get to go all out with my signs because I'm a sign girl.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the little detail signs, like, we're going to have in memory of like my dad and his Nana and like just people that have passed. And like, I love meeting with brides and like getting to know that stuff. I love that crap. Yeah. I do. That is like what I want to do. So I'm trying to figure out how I restructure and just kind of not even really advertise seating charts and just be more known for like little details, and because that's what I love.
So how did you get into making signs and stuff? Like, where did that whole idea come from?
Well, I've always like been psycho about my handwriting, and I mean that in a funny way, but also like kind of OCD about it. I'm really good at certain subjects because I rewrote the notes so many times in high school. Like it just burned in my brain. That's how you get it in, yeah. I still to this day like can't write something without it looking perfect on the paper. I freak out. I offered to do some signs for my friend's wedding, and I just got this new Cricut, and I was like, I can do vinyl, like, and I used my own handwriting and I printed out on vinyl. And I already had like business ideas like in the works. I had followed some people on Instagram that did the same thing, and I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Thinking of just doing like an Etsy type of thing. Wasn't really thinking local. I kind of had a different game plan back then, but then when the wedding planner approached me literally as we're lining up to walk down the aisle, she goes, "Hi, are you the sign girl?" And I was like,
"The sign girl."
Yeah.
That should be your business name. The sign girl.
I'm the sign girl. She's like, "I have a wedding literally next weekend, and I need a seating chart, a welcome sign, and 2 signature drink signs. Like, can you do it?" And I just said yes, because she terrified me. I just said yes. And so the next day she texted me, and she's like, what would you quote for this? And it was a seating chart of 200 names that I'd handwrite on a mirror and a welcome sign. And so I was like, I had no idea what to charge or what to say. I said, $200.
Oh gosh.
And she goes, "You will not be charging $200. And so,
no, ma'am.
So she just shut that down. And a few hours later, I get a Venmo for, I think it was like $500 or something. I don't even remember. And my jaw dropped, and I was like, oh. And I was like, oh, I'm in it now. Like, I just got paid. I can't back out now. So then I had to do it. And that's kind of what started it. She continued to reach out to me, and I've done several signs for her and still do. She'll reach out to me and ask me for quotes for things. And I did the wedding show with you, and I just kind of started, I'm winging this whole thing. I really am. I got my LLC registered, which
is such a big moment. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I want to do it to make the bride's day. I want them to be happy and see their whole day come together with like little detail signs.
If you had to give me like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much Mitch, her fiance, has helped with planning, where would you put it? 10 being he took over and did it for me. One being he doesn't even know we're getting married. No.
If I ask him questions, he'll give his honest opinion. Mm-hmm. Things I didn't know he cared about. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't know you'd have an opinion about that. Okay. I would give him like a 7.
That's pretty high. Mm-hmm. I feel like most brides are sitting around like a 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say he is probably clueless to a lot of the stuff that I've been doing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he's been very like, maybe I force him. I don't know. But like, he went to the venue with me. Like, he went to all the meetings with me. We did so many cake tests that we like forgot all the cakes and just chose a random cake.
I love it.
Like most of the time I'll show him something. I'm like, is this good? And he's like, yeah. At the very beginning, I was trying to pick our bridesmaids and our groomsmen's color, like what they were going to wear. Mm-hmm. I didn't think he had an opinion. Well, I asked him what he wanted to wear. And he goes, not white. I was like, why would I put you in white? And it's like random things like that I was like, I'm so happy that you don't want to be wearing white, but you weren't ever gonna wear it. Was never
not an option.
So I was like, no, like, do you want gray? Do you want navy? And so like then he was like, oh, okay. Like, no, I realized I had to give him options. I can't just ask him point blank what he wants, because men don't think like that. Because they just don't. Yeah, because men. My man specifically, like, he doesn't think about stuff like that. Yeah. So I was like, oh, are you going to get your hair cut and stuff the week of the wedding? He's like, yeah. Are you going to do like your beard? And like, I just, and he's like, I don't care about that stuff. And I was like, but I do. It's the one day of your entire life that you get to just like have a moment. Like, go get your beard, like, I don't know, steamed. What do they do? Like a hot towel. Like, he's never had that before. He doesn't do that stuff. You know,
put your beard in some rollers. Get it curled.
All oiled up. I don't know.
Moisturized.
Yes, he doesn't. I was just like, treat yourself the one day. And like, he just didn't think it was necessary. And his dad's actually doing it for him, so it's taken care of. But like, it's stuff like that he's just like, it's so unnecessary. I'm like, but it's not. Like, give yourself a moment. One moment to just clean up a little bit. Yeah, that's all I ask. Yeah, he'll do it.
Have your slay moment
just once.
For context, I've known her fiance Mitchell for like
longer than I have,
6 or 7 years. He's been my like best friend. He's been my worst friend. All that. So, and then when he brought Destiny around, I was like, no, she's not yours. She's mine now. She's my bestie. And Mitch, you can go away. And I'm keeping her now.
No, but it's good because I got like a whole bunch of really good friends out of meeting him too. So
the real perks.
For real. And Schyler gets to shoot our wedding,
which is so awesome.
So
one of my favorite things about being a photographer, because when you're a photographer, you get to spend so much more time with the couple on their wedding day than you do as a guest. Yes. I'm assuming.
No, I've been in 5 weddings as a bridesmaid, okay?
Yeah.
You were with the photographer the whole day.
100%.
So if you have a bad photographer, or if you don't like them, if they have an attitude, which I've been in a wedding where they were sassy for no reason, I was like, well, hold on.
You got to get someone you vibe with for sure.
Yes. And I'm so, not only would I think if I didn't know you, I would vibe with you and love your photos either way. I feel like I'd hire you either way, but like whether I knew you or not. But I'm just so grateful that you know all of us. Like, it's gonna be such a fun day. I'm so excited.
My favorite moment was like as soon as you guys got engaged. Like Mitch told me he was proposing. I was so excited. It happened. I should have been there in the bushes, but I was at a wedding. But as soon as you guys got engaged, you like texted me or called me or we met up or something. And the first thing you said to me after getting engaged was like, now I can officially hire you to do my wedding photos. And you were so excited.
I was scouting you out before Mitch even, like, I had a feeling he was going to propose to me. He tried to hide it.
He's real bad at hiding stuff.
Well, I love it though. He's bad at lying, and I would rather him be bad at lying than good at lying. Okay, but like the day he told me he was gonna go get the ring, he's like, I'm gonna go out with my uncle and look at guns, and I was like, you guys don't ever do that. But okay.
He should have said Zach. That would have been more
I
viable.
know.
Why Uncle?
He didn't. Anyway, so the way I love him, I really do, and I just pretended like I didn't know what was going on, but I did, and I didn't know when he was gonna do it, but I did know. I was like, you just went and bought me a ring, and I started freaking out because it got really real. But from that moment, because he proposed to me, I think a few weeks later, it was like that time where I was like, I'm hiring Schyler. I'm sorry, there's no other option. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, you were always the one I was gonna
that makes me so happy.
pick. But then Mitch was like, can we afford her? I was like, we're gonna figure it out. Because yes, she's shooting our wedding. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, like, there's a few things you should stretch your budget on always that you will never regret. And
it's photography is one of them because of everything we just said. They run your day. And you're with them all day. If you don't like your photographer and you're with them all day, then you're gonna have a bad day.
Yes. You have a very rough day.
My friend got married last August, and her advice to me was like, don't pay what I paid for my photographer, because they weren't great. I knew he was being weird. I knew he got a ring. I mean, I assumed he bought a ring. And he started randomly following me on Pinterest the same day. He randomly, I was sitting there, and it was when we were both working at home or from home in his 1-bedroom apartment. And on our lunch break one day, he just randomly was like, hey, like, do you want to go up or go out with Abby this weekend, and we can take photos for our business? Because at the time we were thinking about opening, and this was before I was really doing signs, as much as I was anyway, but we were thinking about doing a little website and selling his prints and stickers and stuff. So anyway, he that's how he approached it. He's like, let's go up and take photos for our website because we need some. And I was like,
for Mitch
cool.
to suggest taking photos is like,
he hates it. He's a photographer, and he's behind the camera.
Yeah.
Not in front of it ever. He hates having his photo taken. So I'm like, yeah, we can go take pictures. Mysterious pictures
for no reason.
So
at all.
That too, kind of, I was like, okay, but I didn't want to also be disappointed and it not happen.
You're trying to convince yourself that it's not happening.
Yeah. So I just said okay, but luckily enough, I actually got sick the next day. I woke up with like a fever, and like I was like actually like sick, and
oh man.
But I knew, and I could see his disappointment. He's like, oh, do you still want to like go tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, no. And in my mind I was like, probably shouldn't go because I don't feel good, but in my mind, if it was happening, I didn't want to ruin it, so I went. So we went up to Lockett Meadow right when everything was all yellow and pretty, and we were taking photos. And then Abby, which is also one of our really good friends, she is a good photographer as well, she was like, okay, let's get some individuals of Des. And I was like, oh no, like I knew it was coming.
Here we go.
So I started to get really, really nervous. And so like I'm already awkward in front of a camera anyway. So then like I really started to be like, okay, what do I do now? Like I was so like, I get nervous even thinking about it still. But they had me turn around, and I was like, this is it. And I hear Mitchell trying to be quiet, walking through the leaves and the grass, and I was like, I just pretended like I didn't hear it, even though I clearly 100% could hear it. I am turning around, and this is my face. I'm like, because I knew she was like, okay, go ahead and turn around. And so like when I'm turning around, she was snapping photos to get my reaction, and I'm like, because I knew he was there. I knew it.
Yeah. And you're trying to be like,
and then when I turned around and I actually saw him on one knee, I kind of just like I just froze. And he was so nervous too that all he didn't even have it in a box because he said he didn't like the box. It's like, so you stuck it in your pocket. So he just held the ring like this up in the air, and he just said, will you marry me? Like, really fast. And I don't even remember saying yes.
Yeah.
I just think I shook my head.
So this whole time you're technically not engaged because you never said yes.
Well, after we took all the photos and like, we were in the truck coming back, I think. And I was like, did I even say yes to you? I literally don't even think I said yes because I was so like, I was so relieved that I was right because I didn't want to be wrong, even though I knew I was right the whole time. Right. But then I was like, oh my God, like this is actually happening to me right now. I never ever in my wildest dreams thought I would have a moment like this.
Yeah.
And the fact that she caught it all on camera like blew my mind. And I think like I will cherish those photos forever.
Yeah, they're really special. For any guys out
there, hire a photographer. Thank you.
PSA.
Like, for reals, like I am so thankful that I get to look back at those photos. Yeah, because I'll never, like, that was such a real moment. I think I'll remember that for the rest of my life. I think I did reach out to you and you were like, I've known for weeks.
It was so hard.
I know, because we went out together like a week before it happened. One of the best days of my life. It was.
Oh, I so should have been there in the bushes.
You should have. That would have just like made like Schyler's just like, surprise.
Yeah. It's like I could imagine like he gets down, he's like, will you marry me? You turn around, you're like, oh my God, and then I'm like,
you just jump in the background. It was a very good day, and I forgot that I was sick. I forgot that I didn't feel good. I mean, on the way home I was like, oh my God, because we were in like, it was cold in Flagstaff too. And I was wearing a dress and boots, like I
trying to look cute,
dressed for a photo shoot / engagement. So I wanted to look cute and
right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the struggle is real.
And Abby, when we were on our way to Flagstaff, when we pulled over somewhere so we could like get gas and go to the bathroom and stuff, and she was like, how you feeling, or how you doing? And which I was like, why are you asking me that? But she could tell that I was anxious, that I knew something was going on, but she couldn't tell me what was going. So it was really awkward because Mitch was inside, and I was like, I feel a little anxious, but I'm okay. And she's like, why are you anxious? I'm like, I'm really awkward in front of a camera. It's I don't know what it is, but like whenever I'm getting my photos taken, I just get weird.
Oh yeah, you point at, I can pose other people all day long, but you point a camera at me, all I have is,
I'm like, what do I, yeah, me. That's my go-to. I don't know why.
Every single time. There is not a picture of me in existence where I'm not just, and the chin goes up. I'm like, it's so dumb.
It's so dumb. It really is.
I hate it. And then I'm over here like pretzeling this couple together in like the most romantic embrace. And you're getting
the perfect angle and the light's perfect, but like when it's you, you're like, that's how I am. Exactly. That's why I need good photographers to pose me, because I'm like, dude, you need to tell me literally what to even do with my hands, because I don't know.
We've had some energy drinks. We're gonna go get some food in us. We are dipping into chaos realm. So we will see you guys next time here on WedChat. We'll definitely have Destiny back. Yeah, the peace signs as usual. We'll see you guys next time. Get us out of here.